carrying the sound of traffic, distant sirens, and the soft crackle of someone crying. People walked past without looking, their eyes fixed on their phones or the sidewalk ahead. But on that gray afternoon, one scene stood out: a young woman standing beside a pile of luggage, tears running down her face as a man slammed the door of his car and sped away. Her voice broke as she called after him, but he didn't stop. He didn't even slow down. He left her there, alone, confused, and humiliated in front of strangers who pretended not to notice. But one person did notice. One person had been watching from across the street, standing by the entrance of a tall glass building. And what he did next would change her life in ways she never imagined. Before we continue, if you love emotional and inspiring stories about the power of kindness, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment on our channel, Kindness World. Your support helps us bring more heart-touching stories your way. Her name was Emma. She was 26, hopeful, hardworking, and always trying to see the good in people. She had moved states to support her boyfriend, Ryan, who promised new beginnings, a fresh start, and a future together. But today, he shattered everything with a few cruel words. He blamed her for things she didn't do, accused her of being a burden, and, without warning, tossed her bags out of the car before driving off. Emma stood there for a moment, frozen, trying to breathe through the pain. She didn't know what hurt more, the breakup or the way he discarded her like she meant nothing. She wiped her tears with the sleeve of her sweater and tried to gather her thoughts. She had no home here, no family nearby, no place to go. Across the street, the CEO watching her was named Daniel Grant. He was in his mid-40s, calm, confident, the kind of man people noticed even when he wasn't trying to be noticed. He had built a company from scratch, earned respect, and carried himself with a quiet strength that came only from experience. But what defined him most wasn't his success, it was his heart. Daniel believed that kindness mattered, even in a world that often forgot it. He kept watching as Emma struggled to lift one of her heavy suitcases. She tried once, twice, and on the third attempt, she dropped it, the zipper bursting open as her clothes spilled onto the sidewalk. She sank to her knees, crying harder now, overwhelmed and embarrassed. Daniel didn't think twice. He stepped off the curb, crossed the street, and approached her slowly so he wouldn't startle her. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Emma looked up, startled, her cheeks wet. "I'm fine," she said quickly, even though nothing about her looked fine. Daniel crouched beside her, helping her scoop up the clothes. "I saw what happened," he said softly. "No one deserves to be left like that." Her lips trembled, but she didn't know what to say. "Do you have somewhere you can go?" he asked. She shook her head. "Not really. I just moved here. I thought." She stopped herself and looked away. Daniel nodded with understanding. "Let me help you," he said. "Just to get you somewhere safe. No pressure." Emma hesitated. She didn't trust easily, not anymore, but something in his tone made her feel safe. Not judged. Not pitted. Simply seen. "Okay," she whispered. Together, they carried her luggage into the lobby of the building behind him. Only then did she realize it wasn't just any building, it was the headquarters of Grant Industries, one of the most respected companies in the city. "Do you work here?" she asked. Daniel smiled. "Something like that." He took her to a quiet lounge area with soft chairs and warm lighting. A receptionist brought her water and tissues. Emma felt like she had stepped into another world, one where people cared, one where she wasn't invisible. Daniel sat across from her. "I know you've had a rough day," he said, "but I want you to know this moment isn't the end. Sometimes life breaks things apart to make room for something better." Emma looked at him, unsure how a stranger could be so kind when the man who claimed to love her wasn't. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Most people just walk past." "I used to be one of those people," Daniel admitted. "Too busy to see what was right in front of me." Then someone showed me kindness when I needed it the most. It changed me. So now I try to pass it on. Emma nodded slowly. She didn't know this man, yet his words felt like a warm blanket over her shaking heart. Daniel made a few calls and arranged a room for her in a nearby hotel. When she protested, saying she couldn't afford it, he raised a hand gently. "Consider it a loan," he said. "You can pay me back someday, if you want. For now, you just need rest." She didn't argue again. She was too exhausted, too overwhelmed by the unexpected compassion from a stranger. He personally drove her to the hotel. The car ride was quiet but comfortable, the kind of silence that didn't demand anything. When they arrived, he helped her carry her bags to the lobby. Before leaving, he handed her a small card with his number. "If you need anything, food, help finding work, or just someone to talk to, call me. You're not alone, Emma." She held the card tightly. "Why are you doing this?" she asked softly. Daniel paused, then said, "Because someone once reminded me that kindness is never wasted. And because today, you needed someone to show up." Emma's eyes filled with fresh tears, this time not from sadness, but from gratitude. Over the next few days, Daniel checked in on her. He helped her find a job at one of his company's partner firms, not out of pity, but because he saw strength in her, a determination she didn't even realize she had. Emma worked hard, built confidence, and slowly rebuilt her life. She never forgot the day she was left on the street, but more importantly, she never forgot the stranger who refused to walk past. Months later, on a sunny afternoon, Emma returned to the spot where everything had fallen apart. Only this time, she wasn't crying. She stood proudly, knowing she had overcome something she thought might break her. Daniel joined her, smiling. "You made it," he said. "No," she replied softly. "We made it. You helped me believe I still mattered." Daniel nodded, touched by her words. "Kindness is powerful," he said. "It doesn't take much to change someone's life. Sometimes just being there is enough." Emma looked at him with gratitude that couldn't be spoken. In a world full of rushing people, she had found someone who stopped, someone who cared, someone who showed her that kindness still existed. And from that day forward, she promised herself she would never walk past someone else's pain again. Because kindness given is kindness multiplied. And sometimes, it saves a life without even knowing it.